Okay, let's go on to the next lesson. We finished up learning how to play accents and taps. We've worked on all the timing exercises in previous lessons, single strokes, one height. We're ready to move on to the next category of drumming, which is learning to play double strokes, more than one stroke on each hand. Now, we need to talk about something and spend actually 2 lessons here talking about something I call rebound stroke. Up until now, I've continually talked about holding onto the stick and using your wrist to move the stick. This has been very important to learn how to use your wrist and stick together as a team, your hand and stick together as a team. But now we're in a situation where we want to be able to play some faster, more difficult figures, and it's the right time to learn how to let go of the stick. But there's a certain way to let go of the stick that's going to give you the maximum control over what you want to play. So let's talk about rebound stroke in terms of like a preliminary basic stroke. This is how rebound stroke works. Now I want you to notice that I'm using a little bit bigger sticks for this lesson. I've been using smaller, more kind of drum set or orchestral type snare drum sticks, but these are a little bit bigger. These are actually made by Vic Firth. They're called Ralph Hardiman Juniors, and they're a little beefier. And they work really well for practicing this stroke. So if you have a little bit bigger sticks, I would recommend it. We want to learn how to utilize the inherent bouncing rebound that is in this drum, this practice pad, or in any drum head that's got some tension to it. A snare drum typically has this much action in it. A ride cymbal or other hard surface, a hi-hat, has this kind of rebound in it. And here's the way the stroke works. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to break all the rules we've set before, and we're going to totally let go of the stick. So I want you to hang the stick from your first finger and your thumb in your left hand. What I've done here is we've taken away our ability to lift the stick at all. And we are going to practice and learn how to have the drum lift the stick for us. This is called dribbling the stick. You hang the stick here, lift it up with your other hand, use your first finger, and bounce it. Now I want you to notice a few different things that I'm doing here. First of all, I'm keeping my first finger real close to the stick, and I'm back close to my hand, just an inch or so away from my left hand. I'm pushing the stick down, and the drum is lifting it up. There's nothing lifting the stick but the bounce from the rebound from the drum head. This is the purest illustration of how the rebound stroke works that I can think of, and it's great practice. Now you might find that a little hard to do at first. It's like, it takes a little coordination, but that's the whole point. You want to learn how to work together with the up and down motion of the stick to get this smooth flowing down, up, down, up. The stick just flies. The drum is doing 50% or more of the work. You push it down, the drum pushes it up. Now you got to have good stick path, you got to have good height, you got to be going straight up and down, otherwise the stick's going to bounce all over on you. Straight up and down, super efficient. Okay? Now if you're playing traditional grip, this works really. You can just let your hand off the stick completely, just let it hang there between your first finger and thumb, dribble the stick. You can try different tempos. Slower. Just work on that coordination. And your ultimate goal would be that as you push the stick down, your finger stays in contact with, your first finger stays in contact with the stick. You don't want to do this. There's a lot of similarities in bouncing like a basketball. You push it down, you catch it, you push it back down. The moment of direction change takes a lot of, you want that to be very smooth and well coordinated. I call this going along for the ride. And what I mean by that is my finger pushes the stick down, and then as the drum throws the stick up, my finger is going along for the ride. It's not inhibiting the upward motion at all. That's very important. You don't want to get in the way of the drum doing its job of throwing the stick up for you. I'm going to go back to match grip, do it a few more times. You just got to play around with this and get so you can do it really well. there's this relaxed freedom that's there because you're not doing very much work. You push it down, the drum throws it up. Now, after you've got that down, the next thing to do is try to duplicate that same feeling and that same motion, but use your whole hand like you would normally drum. Now, we've been drumming with our wrist like this, holding onto the stick. So we've got to practice letting go, and you don't have to totally let go, but you just want the stick to fly up. You can practice this motion. Some people call this full stroke. Start here and let that stick come all the way back up. Now what I'm doing here is I'm throwing it down and I'm just moving my fingers, getting out of the way, letting the stick fly right back up. Now if you don't get your hand out of the way or you don't move your hand, you'll end up with this. You know, the drum wants to throw the stick up, but as it starts to go up, bonk, it hits your hand and your hand stops and inhibits the upward motion of the stick. So practice this. Let it fly up. See how fast my stick just jets right up to full height. Don't inhibit that upward motion. Next step, put your hand back in place and just allow a little bit of space right here. We don't do this. You want some contact here, but you want to open your hand up right here and allow the stick to bounce back up. Now I have to turn my wrist along with the stick to get out of the way, but I can keep my fingers in position and allow the space there. Now if I go a little faster, I can turn that into this continuous smooth motion. Think back to multiple stroke. We did, in the very beginning, in early lessons, we did accent stroke, and then as we moved continuously, we still used wrist and held onto the stick, but our goal was to get this smooth up and down motion. Very fluid. Well, this is the next extension of that multiple stroke, is to then allow space here and start to let the drum lift the stick for you. I want you to notice how free and smooth that is. It's effortless because I'm only doing half the work. Now the coolest thing about this, and this is the real reason to do this, is you can go much, much faster. Because I'm letting the drum do so much of the work. But I want you to realize that as I bend my wrist downward, these fingers are pulling the stick down. Later when we get to fast double strokes and so forth, that's going to be very, very important. So we got to keep contact here. Just open up your hand here. Practice different tempos. Let it fly up. Don't inhibit the upward motion. That's the most important part. That's rebound stroke. Now, a very good exercise is to go back to the beginning and play just simple 8 on a hand and 8th and 16th notes. The first two exercises we worked on, and use rebound stroke. So it would look like this. Now this exercise illustrates the next point that's important, and that is when you use rebound stroke, it's used for an isolated figure at a given moment in time when you make the choice to play fast singles and you open up your hand. But as soon as you're done with that, you grab back onto the stick again. Notice I have a hold of the stick here. And I'm going to play a measure of 8th notes and a release note. And when I finish, I'm going to stop right back here and hold on to the stick again. So I start with a float stroke, rebound, down. And the last motion is like an accent or float stroke. It stops in rest position. Grab a hold of the stick and grab a hold of the stick. Same thing with the left hand. Grab a hold of the stick. Move, bounce, hold on to the stick. So you got to be able to stop and start the stick by holding on, letting go, and holding on. This little shift between in your grip is very important. So be in control of that. Some people will go, oh yeah, I gotta let it go. And then they don't grab a hold of the stick again, and now they don't have control. They can't do what they want to do on the next figure or the next rhythm that they're going to play. Now, if we play 8 on a hand, applying that principle, let's do this together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab, move. Grab, bounce. Grab, bounce. Nice and smooth, back and forth, using this rebound stroke. Just really get your hands to flow. All right? Now, the next thing to do is to use the rebound stroke and put your hands together so that you can play alternating singles. This is going to give us the ability to play very fast single stroke figures and to play the first roll type, which is a single stroke roll. This is the best way to practice this. Exercise number 2, back from the very beginning, using rebound stroke. We have a measure of 8 notes. And then bring that left hand in using rebound stroke. Now, another thing you do is just get both hands going and just play long, extended 16th notes using rebound stroke. So we start with the right hand and just keep going. I want you to notice a few things. My fingers are still touching the stick. I've just opened my hand up a little bit so I can get that rebound action. The drum is doing all the lifting and I'm pushing the stick down. Allows you to go much, much faster. Now, if we go back to the wrist stroke, multiple stroke we were talking about before, or that we learned before, you can only go so fast with just your wrist. So there comes a point where that doesn't make sense. That's where rebound stroke kicks in. You know, if I'm doing this, I'm not going to let go. Why would I let go? That's too slow. I can play these notes at this speed, controlling the stick. But as I go faster and faster, I want to start using the rebound stroke. I'll demonstrate that. Right about there. Start to bounce them. Just let the sticks fly. Now, you have to have control over stick height. You got to have good hand position. You got to be in control of the sticks. The sticks got to go straight up and down, or it doesn't work. So that's rebound stroke. Now, one last exercise to apply the rebound stroke that's very important, and that is to play sextuplets, which is 6 notes per beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. A very common exercise is to play 2 8th notes and a sextuplet. 2 8th notes and a sextuplet. The sextuplet fits inside those 2 8th notes. Now, the reason this exercise is so good is because when you go fast, you have to let go and use rebound stroke on the sextuplet, but you have to grab a hold of the sticks and control them to play the 8th notes. So this requires you to shift back and forth between wrist strokes on the 8th notes and the rebound stroke on the sextuplet. So if we do one count of 8th notes, one count of sextuplets, sound like this. Two counts worth. 2 counts of 8th notes, 2 counts of sextuplets. 1, 2, 3, and. And 4 counts of 8th notes and 4 counts of sextuplets. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now use your metronome, make those sextuplets perfectly even and fit with the 8th notes. This is such good practice because you want to be able to play fast, burning singles in a variety of different situations, and you've got to use this rebound stroke to do it. There are several different kinds of rolls in drumming, and the first type of roll is a single stroke roll, which is exactly what I was just doing. Now, sometimes it's very metered, like in the sextuplets we were playing. Other times, it's just used to create sustain. For instance, if you're playing on a cymbal, a single stroke roll on a cymbal, or a single stroke roll on a big floor tom, you've got to be able to play fast singles. So work on those.